This infamously loosely designated area between Florida, Puerto Rico, and the Bermudas is any captain's and pilot's nightmare. Many disappeared aircraft, ships, and cruise liners were attributed to this mysterious zone. They say the main reason why this place is so enigmatic must be the magnetic fields that form this ominous triangle. Ocean floors made of rocks containing a lot of magnetite. Not magnets you put on your fridge to remember that lovely trip to Paris. It's more like iron. Magnetic fields react to the high concentration of magnetite on the ocean floor, which may start a sort of conflict between the two. It can often lead to various weather anomalies and, as a result, navigation issues. And naturally, any changes in the ocean floor or the Earth's magnetic fields influence the Bermuda Triangle a lot. Magnetic fields tend to shift their position, so do tectonic plates and even the continents, even though we never notice it. Even magnetic poles move. For example, over the last 30 years, the North Magnetic Pole shifted significantly from Canada to Siberia. Since the magnetic field is constantly moving, it might be also taking the Bermuda Triangle with it. Now that people know where the triangle is, it's easy to avoid it. It supposedly moves eastward together with the magnetic poles, but scientists still can't answer where exactly it will lie in a couple of years. Mysterious things don't end here. Calm and stormless Sargasso Sea might be no less dangerous than the Bermuda Triangle, and it comes as no surprise that it actually crosses into it. So what's so dangerous about a sea with calm, crystal-clear waters, no heavy winds or huge waves, no icebergs, the typical culprits when it comes to taking down ships? It's the sea's almost absent winds that make it hard for sailing ships to pass through. Large freighters and barges can cross it pretty easily, but smaller, less powerful ships haven't always been so successful in the area. Plenty have gotten stuck and lost here. The Pacific Ocean Mystery Area is another sinister triangle. Off the south coast of Japan, not far away from Tokyo, there's a sea where plenty of ships meet their doom, disappearing without a trace in these waters. They call it the Dragon's Triangle. Some people blame all disasters on the extraterrestrial paranormal activity. Others suppose it's all about raging natural phenomena. Some scientists believe the cause of anomalies is the environmental changes. Also, there's a really high concentration of methane hydrates on the bottom of the ocean in the Pacific Bermuda area. This gas tends to explode whenever the temperature reaches more than 64 degrees Fahrenheit. When it happens, bubbles start forming on the surface of the water. These gas eruptions can interrupt the ability to float and can easily sink a ship. Because of this chemical reaction, there won't be even a trace left. Underwater volcanoes are said to be another possible explanation for the Japanese Dragon's Triangle. In fact, they can take down even small islands. Luckily, nobody lives there. It's a pretty common thing in this area that some of them disappear underwater and others appear out of the blue because of seismic activity. You'll never find the Dragon's Triangle on any official map of the world, so nobody's quite sure about how large it is in reality. But the notorious triangles don't end there. There's one in Lake Michigan. Just like its alternative, the Bermuda Triangle, the Michigan Triangle got its shady reputation for some disappearances. The first recorded one dates back to 1679. A large vessel, one of the largest of that time, set out on an expedition. Yet once it got in the sinister triangle, it never came back. An aircraft disappeared in this triangle once. The skies are usually very clear there, but back in 1883, some people witnessed abnormal things in the area. Some claim to have seen large blocks of ice falling from the skies, and the crew even managed to save one as hard proof. Seems like the Bermuda Triangle has an alternate not only on Earth, but even in space. Spacecraft usually don't disappear into thin air though, like there's no air. This anomalous area is really large and stretches right above the South Atlantic. It occupies the area from Chile to Zimbabwe, and sits right at the point where the Van Allen radiation belts are the closest to the surface of our planet. The Earth has two such belts, which come in handy trapping the particles that shoot in from the Sun. They do a great job protecting the Earth from radiation. The magnetic field there is lower, so it allows the Earth's radiation belt to come closer to the surface. Whenever a satellite passes by, it will be exposed to radiation, which might lead to serious damage. So no satellite can take pictures of it. The South Atlantic anomaly is part of the Earth where natural radiation just flows out of control. Still, there is little evidence that all these triangles are really dangerous. Many believe the Bermuda Triangle itself has been proven time and again to be nothing but a work of fiction. In fact, some shipwrecks, such as the Ellen Austin, gained popularity in the middle of the 20th century, while nobody even thought of drawing a triangle in the Bermuda area before that. The mystery was popularized by science fiction writers and became a common myth, while no serious research proved it any more dangerous than other parts of the world's ocean. So, the crew of the Ellen Austin back in 1881 weren't even aware of the Bermuda Triangle back then, let alone afraid of it. Not only the triangles haunt people across the world, but circles too. In Costa Rica, there's a small island called Isla de Caño, where there's an assortment of about 300 circular objects of different sizes. Locals call them las bolas de piedra, which is simply the stone balls in English. These stones have an almost perfectly round shape. Some of them are huge, weighing up to 16 tons each. They're also made of different materials – gabbro, limestone, and sandstone. Local chiefs would often put those balls in line in front of their houses. They must have been really tired of those garden gnomes everyone else has. There's no precise information on their origin. Some myths claim these stones originated from Atlantis. If you ever travel to the Mekong River, you'll probably have a chance of seeing baleful, glowing balls rising from the water and beelining up into the air. Locals call these the Naga fireballs. Sizes vary, so these reddish balls can be as tiny as a spark and as large as a basketball. The number of fireballs per night varies from dozens to thousands. Scientists don't have any solid explanation why it happens, but it's probably flammable gas released by the marshy environment. Most of the Great Lakes are quite mysterious. In Minnesota, on the northern shore of Lake Superior, there's a park with a waterfall split in two. One part of the river continues, the other disappears. Whatever object you throw into the waterfall kettle won't float back up anywhere in sight. They say it's totally unsafe for people because it's nearly impossible to trace the flows. Nah, there's no underworld whatsoever. Everything that falls down the waterfall returns to the lake via an underground river. The trick is that there are powerful currents that can hold various objects underneath before they resurface sometime later. The center of Lake Superior is notorious for shipwrecks. It's also very dangerous because the water there is freezing cold, only 36 degrees Fahrenheit. Deep in the Amazon, there's the 4-mile-long Chêne-Tepinchka River that's boiling non-stop. The name means boiled by the sun. Well, it's not actually boiling, but it can reach a critical 196 degrees Fahrenheit, enough to cook pasta. The lowest temperature in these waters is about 113 degrees. This river still can't be scientifically explained because it requires a volcano to be close for the water to reach such temperature. However, the closest volcano is 435 miles away. So, other explanations suggest a hot spring beneath the Earth that could create this phenomenon. Dangerous waters vary, so Gippsland Lakes, Australia, can glow at night. Bacteria agitate in water when the algae bloom, and their movements give that bioluminescent effect. Red algae bloom's beauty is extremely misleading. Algae types are different, but those that can be found in the red tide contain high levels of ammonia. Those who dare swim in it may get eye irritation and rash. It's better just to enjoy the breathtaking scenery sitting on the beach, and do that preferably with your nose pinched. The decaying algae smell, well, let's call it funky.